Hey guys, welcome to another Complete Developer Live. It's not Monday night, and
We have more space behind us.
yes, and guess what I forgot to do? I forgot to tell the folks on Slack that
It's a tradition here on
that I
Developer
forget.
Podcast Live for BJ not to tell Slack.
Speaking of Slack, Slack was down Wednesday.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, the world panicked, y'all. Did y'all see that? Like we were watching the Twitter feeds, just cracking up at work. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it really tells you a lot about how many people aren't really doing much at work. You know, that they're I mean, I get that some people actually need to communicate over Slack, but a lot of these people I just know from, you know, a number of Slack channels I'm in, some of the discussions that I see.
All right.
When those people freak out over Slack not being around, I don't think that it's as important what they're actually discussing. You know?
Well, I mean, we use it a lot where I work.
Yeah, and I'm in some pretty good ones too.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm also in some other ones that, meh.
I would say that Slack is probably our primary source of communication.
Oh, ours is face to face.
Well, see, we're remote though.
Yeah.
So we
gotta
use
work on
Slack. We've got other ways of calling each other, but we even call each other on Slack. So, but yeah, it was funny. Check it out. The Google Slack is down, and you'll see all sorts of funny posts and funny things people said. So on to our updates. I got to participate in a speech at the Digital Government Summit this past week. Actually, it's the basis for the episode that we're recording tonight.
Okay.
So it's really cool. I totally slipped up and read my notes for the wrong slide, but I was told by some of the people in the audience and some of the people on the team that I was speaking with that my transition of blending the 2 points appeared seamless and planned. Like I meant to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I totally slipped up on that one.
Yeah. Well, we're fairly decent at talking our way out of stuff because we do it so much.
That's very true. And so that was cool. I'm going to be making some chili tonight because we have our work picnic tomorrow. And
Nice.
apparently I made chili. Well, not apparently, but I made chili for, I think, our Thanksgiving thing. And several people liked it and asked me to make it again. So
Well, that's that.
easily
done.
use the venison that you gave me. So,
You need more of it?
well, this will use up the last of it, so I could take some more home tonight.
Yeah, don't forget then.
I won't. Trust me, I won't.
Yeah, I've got, and the reason I'm giving venison away freely to him is I have like 2 deer worth of it in my freezer, and you know it's like I just can't eat that all the time.
I could.
Yeah,
But-
you get over it.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, too much I would probably.
Yeah.
So, what's up with you?
I tore the recording room apart over the past several weeks. The server is gone.
Yeah.
The server rack is gone.
It is sweet.
Yeah, and I have a little because like about a month and a half ago, I looked at the server rack and I was like, you know, I'm using this Windows server for a NAS, you know, network attached storage, and that's it now. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's really no reason to have like a 43U rack or whatever, you know, like it's a full size rack in here for that and the networking stuff. And so I got like a wall mount for the networking bits and moved those over. And then I bought the NAS, plugged all those things in. And so the rack is now out in the garage. I've got to take it apart the rest of the way or just move it as is. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. We have so much more space in here. The lighting's better because we're back away from the wall now.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. You can actually see my face.
Yeah.
Like, if I still had the large beard, you would actually
see the beard.
The beard, yeah.
Yeah.
And not just like this blob.
Yeah, because I mean, you kind of looked like just a floating head
Yeah.
before, especially if you wore a dark shirt. It wasn't good.
See, now I have a neck.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
neck beards doesn't really apply to us anymore.
yeah. Oh well, it's too late to change the email address, I guess. So
Yes.
yeah, I've done that. Not been doing much other than just trying to recover from some burnout. You know, I kind of just I think I hit the wall. I guess right in the middle of Music City Tech,
Yeah.
give or take. You know, and I mean, I just didn't have any motivation for anything. So I've been kind of working out of a funk for a while and being real limited on what I do. Just taking it easy for a while. I do feel like that's kind of turned a corner. So I think that's probably better. So
Yeah, you sent me a message the other day. You're like, "Hey, I think I'm coming out of this burnout."
yeah, because I was looking forward to going home and writing some code, and I'm like,
That's awesome. That is awesome.
because I hadn't felt that way since probably February,
Yeah.
March timeframe.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like gradually getting more and more stuff piled on. So yeah,
That's really cool. And speaking of that, that led us to what we're doing now, which is giving Thursday nights a try. We had to record on a Thursday night a couple of times because of either family stuff or I was sick one time, and we pushed it back to Thursday. And
then there was Matt's funeral.
Yeah,
Monday, because we were planning on recording and we got back and we're like, we just been to a good friend's funeral. I don't think we don't need to record tonight.
Yeah.
Like we hadn't, that's just not something that we had.
Yeah, we hadn't thought that far ahead because we were so caught off guard by it.
Well, and that's, it's like, that's what we do Monday nights.
Yeah.
We record. It's like, we just didn't think about it and we're like, man, that's not good. So we swapped to Thursday, and the thing is I think Friday you sent a message. You're like, man, I feel like we really did well recording last night. And I'm like, yeah, and I don't feel as tired as I do on Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, we're going to probably start recording on Thursdays.
I will be honest, this first week has been great because normally I write the outlines on Sunday.
Yeah.
And even though I took the basics from the talk, I did make a lot of changes and adjustments to it and added a lot to it because I only had 7 minutes to do the talk. But I went for 12. Go figure. But
can't imagine.
Anyways, yeah.
People that think that this is a 15-minute Facebook Live probably understand what happened.
Yep. Well, our goal originally was 15 minutes.
And we've never hit it.
Nope. Yeah, so we decided we're going to give this a try this Thursday, and I worked on it Sunday, and then I think I had like one thing to do Monday, and because I ran out of time, and I did that Monday, and I'm like, hey, I don't feel like Monday evening after I finished working, I was like, I don't feel stressed to get this done in time to go over to Will's.
Yeah.
And it just, I think it's going to be a better fit for us for our schedules. We'll see. Time will tell.
Well, and that also makes the weekends a little bit more free because we can do that during the week, and it's it's a whole lot easier to chop it up into 3 different chunks.
Yep.
I would think.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll know soon. So, all right. So we got some listener questions. Okay, here's the first one. Startups are popular places for developers to work. I'm early in my career. Why would I want or not want to work for one? And this is something I've done several times, working for startups of different sizes. There's a few things to consider. The first is a lot of startups don't have much money. So if you're looking for the higher pay, that's probably not going to happen. You're also going to have longer hours, more than likely. They don't have the processes down, all that kind of stuff. Everything changes. You also wear a lot of hats. So this can teach you how to do a whole lot of different stuff that you never would have done anywhere else. So it's kind of a mix. I will tell you, do not take a job with a startup when you're already broke. And the reason I tell you this is because you'll take the job with a startup, and as a relief from being broke, you'll spend money, and you're working yourself half to death, so you'll spend more than you think. And when that startup bombs, which most of them do, you're in a bad spot. So you got to be careful about that. Now, the first time I did work for a startup, that's what happened. Now, subsequent times, I made sure I had a lot of savings before I jumped in.
Now, I want to say this too. When I saw this question, I thought about it, and that is, it depends on where you are in your life too.
Yeah.
You may be like me, and this is your second or third career, and so you're a little further along in life, and the startup scene may not be right for you.
Yeah, if you're at our age, it's a little different game.
Mm-hmm. And you may already have a family and things like that starting in development, and so you might want something a little bit more stable. Maybe a startup or maybe a company that was a startup 10 or 15 years ago and have shown that they're there.
Yeah, or even 5 years ago.
Yeah, but still have that small feel. Or you may want the, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Just the safety of a larger corporation, or
Yeah.
you can get in, or even going into the public sector and working for government or a nonprofit, where you got a little bit more stability, really great benefits. I mean, there's trade off. You know, with a startup, you're not going to have the stability, and early startups, you're not going to have the pay, but you're going to get to do a lot of stuff and learn a lot. So there's trade offs. Whereas with a larger corporation, you're going to have the stability, or like going in the public sector, you're going to have the stability, good benefits, things like that. But you're not going to get to do as much. You're going to be pretty regulated to, all right,
Here's your thing.
Yeah, you're an API developer in .NET. That's what you get to do.
Union rules.
Yeah. Though I will say
Almost.
this about the public sector is getting a lot better. They're really pushing people to cross train and get to doing other stuff. So that's really awesome. Not everywhere, but it's making progress. So
Yeah. The other thing, okay, startups will a lot of times give you some kind of equity in the company if you join on early. So you take you're getting paid, 20, 30K less than what somebody of your skill level would get paid, but you own X percentage of the company. I'm going to tell you just straight up that mostly doesn't work out very well, because I've done this a couple of times. And what ends up happening is you don't get paid and the company doesn't go anywhere. So you have to be really, really judicious about the startups you pick. You have to be this way about businesses anyway. You got to make sure that, okay, they have the cash flow to keep me on. Just in general, because it's a weird thing. There's a lot of companies out here that they'll grow and they'll expand and they'll hire people, and then they run out of money. I got hired at a company, a small company here in town. BJ remembers this.
yep.
I did contract to hire. I worked there for 6 months on contract. I was converted to an employee, and a week later I was downsized. Literally. Now, 12 minutes after that, I had another full-time gig because I had something going on the side. But you don't want to be in that spot.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're starting out, because you may not have you don't have the connections or know the people and stuff like that to quickly transition, and then it becomes a pain. When I was starting out, I looked at a company that was somewhat of a startup, not too far from where Will works, and they brought me in. I interviewed, and I was the first person there to interview. And I got a call back from the recruiter who said, "Hey, I don't know what you did, but they want you. It's just they expected this process to take 6-8 months, so they don't have the budget yet to hire you."
Yeah, it's like, what do you want me to do? Just hang out?
So what I told him was, I was like, "Hey, if you will give me paperwork saying yes, I will start on this day, I won't look for another job," because I had a job at the time and I was doing some side work and I was comfortable. It wasn't I wasn't in a stressful situation, and yeah, this would have been my first development job. But anyways, and then I never heard back from him. Well, I say I never. I didn't hear back from him, and I kept interviewing, because that's what you should do. Keep interviewing in that situation. I did. I got a job, and about 2 months after I'd started the job I have now, I got a call from them wanting to bring me on. They even offered me a little bit more money than I'm making now. And I talked to Will about it. I was like, I just don't feel right being here only 2 months and then leaving. And so I ended up not doing it. And turned out I got a lot of great benefits that I was not expecting from the job I'm at now. So
Yeah.
it's a personal thing. So the next question we have is, do I need to get a new computer to learn coding, or can I use my old one even if it is a bit slower?
Yeah, and this is mixed because it depends on what you're doing.
Very true. Now, y'all remember me complaining about the crap top.
Oh, man.
And him complaining. He complained more than I did.
You still have that?
Yeah.
Okay. If we can ever get a hold of some thermite, I've got a science experiment I want to do on that laptop.
It did. It ran really well with Linux, with a lightweight Linux
I bet I
distro.
could make it blazing fast.
Oh, yeah.
I got a personal grudge against that laptop. Now that said, you did learn to code on that. I will say that you can do a lot of a lot of stuff. A lot of these development environments are fairly light. I wouldn't try to run Visual Studio 2017 with ReSharper and SQL Server and everything else. Like the .NET stack, don't even bother.
I mean, I was able to do, not ReSharper, but I was able to do quite a bit on there.
Yeah, and I mean, Visual Studio has gotten better, but like if you got a real heavy environment or you're doing a lot of heavy graphics, or you're using some of the newer tech that just won't work on older machines,
Yeah.
especially on commercial OSs like Mac and Windows in particular, that may be a problem.
Yeah, and it like you said, it depends on what you're going to do, and also sort of, it depends on how old the machine is.
Yeah.
And how slow it is. The issue I ran into was that I had only 4 gigabytes of RAM, and Windows takes up like almost 4 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah.
And so it was all virtual for anything I was running on it.
Yeah, so that meant all his memory came off of the 5400 RPM hard drive.
Right.
Yeah, so it just, like I said, I want to use Thermite on that machine.
Well, that's why it ran so much better with Ubuntu.
Yeah. And so that's another thing you can do. You can get lightweight Linux distros and learn your way around those. I mean, you can code like Ruby on Rails with Vim. You can do stuff on the terminal. You can get around pretty darn well.
Yeah, my mom, she's not a developer; she's a nurse, but she's got a laptop that was running Windows XP. It has 512 megabytes of RAM.
Yep.
And she's running lightweight Ubuntu on there. And now she's not doing any development, but it works for her.
Yeah.
So you can, with a pretty old system, you can still do some stuff.
Another thing you might consider doing is, instead of buying another system, is buy a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Get it with an enclosure. It's like $50.
Yeah, they're about 35 each, and then 20 something for
get a monitor from somewhere if you don't have one already.
You can probably find one at Goodwill or someplace like that, or you could also go to some of the colleges and stuff. When they replace theirs, they just give them to people.
Yeah, because they want them gone.
Yeah,
and so there's ways to do that. You could also maybe even hook it up to a TV if you got a decent TV. A lot of people do. As they're starting this, so that may be an option too.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty cheap. So I would look into doing that. There's always a way around it.
Well.
All right, so here's the next one. Oh, lordy. So this one, it was selected by Beach because he wants me to rant. So here we go.
I picked this one specifically and put it last because I knew you would.
Yeah. No time discipline, like we discussed earlier. Okay, so the question is, my supervisor wants me to modify some proprietary code from a software the company doesn't own. It's unethical, illegal, and I don't want to participate. What should I do? Okay, so there's several things going on here. One of them could be, like, if they don't own it, it's like a BSD license. I think there's some, it's either BSD or MIT. There's one of those licenses you can actually modify and do whatever you want. So double check that just from the get-go. But I'm assuming that's not what this is. Now, let's say that it's proprietary, like say it's open source. Can you learn from it? Learn how to do stuff? That can be a little bit of a gray area. If it's straight up somebody else's intellectual property, and they're asking you to do that, like that's flat out illegal. Get out of there. And the reason I say that is people that are complete scumlords like this, they don't get any better. I mean, I'm trying to be nice without like really hurling the profanity, but when you work with somebody that's just a complete, like, being scuzzy is like being an integer in mathematics. There's always bigger. And that person will keep working on it. Like, it's not going to get better. Get out of there. Get out of there and then find some way to let the people that own that software know who is doing the things. Because they also need to get nailed. Preferably without you being in the mix. Just go, hey, like... Personally, I would get a hold of the company whose software these people are trying to steal, and I would see if I could get hired on there. And be like, yeah, I've worked with your stuff before because these guys are using it.
Well, that's another thing you could do. Yeah, I had thought about that.
Yeah.
So I
Because you go, look, I'm coming to you because this is going on. I'm trying to figure out what to do. I like your stuff. I know my way around it.
So the reason I picked this question is you have some very strong opinions about this, and I've heard you go on about it.
Yeah.
And I thought this would be. I saw this pop up, and I'm like, oh, this is just perfect.
Yeah.
It'll be a great one to talk about. I agree completely with Will. If this is going on in that particular situation where it is someone else's intellectual property, get out.
Yeah. It's
You
never
need to
going to
go.
get better.
You know, even if you have to get yourself fired to get out, you need to get away from there, get to a better place.
Yeah. I worked for a company that got raided by the FBI. And there were signs well in advance. It just isn't worth it, because what would have happened if I'd have stuck around and said, okay, I'm not going to participate, but I'm going to stay there, even if you just like balk, if they don't fire you straight up and just not give you severance and you're screwed in that situation. But like, let's say that you stay and you don't do the things like this, right? Well, you knew about it, right? So you could be held legally liable potentially. They might get you to modify some code that they say they own later from the same company, and not, and you don't have a way of researching it, and so you get hooked by that later. The other thing is you're sitting there when the FBI comes in and raids and takes the servers. Mm-hmm. And what happens in those kind of situations is accounts get frozen, all kinds of stuff gets tangled up. The principal owners are let out in handcuffs, and that's the hand that signs your check that's in those cuffs. They aren't signing a check right now.
Yeah.
So unless you really like living under a bridge eating ramen, I would suggest getting out.
Yeah. Oh, guys, if you have any more questions, leave them for us in the comments. If you disagree with us on anything, leave them in the comments.
Except for that one, you're wrong.
We will address it. A couple of shout outs to some people that joined. Josh, Lori, Seth. Hey guys.
What up, yo?
Glad you guys joined us. So if you guys haven't already listened to it, the episode that came out today, which that's another really cool thing about doing this on Thursdays, is it's not the upcoming episode, it's the one that
just dropped.
Yeah, well, actually, no, you're talking about that one. I'm talking about the one last week. I have to update this.
Oops.
Yeah, because I'm used to going a week, the one that's coming up, but the one he's talking about is the one that came out today. Last week...
I thought that seemed weird. Okay.
Yeah. So that I'm going to have to start changing it. Welcome to our process of learning by doing. We're testing in production. Yay. So last week, we had an episode called Getting the Most from Conferences. We were just at Music City Tech, and while there, we had a booth, hosted a panel, spoke, attended sessions.
Drank occasional beer, brought some cookies in.
Yeah, I mean, we
did too much.
Yeah, we did. It's easy for it to become overwhelming at conferences, and there's a lot going on with all the talks and stuff. It can be difficult to maximize your time and attention. In the episode, we spend the first half going over how to get the most out of the conference, by making a plan before you attend, what to do while you're there, and also some information about networking and socializing, and then what to do after the conference to get the most out of it. The second half of the episode is actually a lot of fun because we were at the conference and we interviewed a few people, attendees, speakers, and volunteers about their experience and their thoughts on conferences and speaking and stuff. So check it out. It's really cool. We had a lot of fun creating that episode.
So the upcoming episode, aka the episode that dropped today because, the whole time shift thing, is the 9 career benefits of journaling. And there's a lot you can get out of keeping a journal that's especially helpful for your career. Work journal contains information about your daily work activities. This includes tasks you're working on, problems you face, solutions to those problems, that kind of stuff. It can also include ideas that you think of while working or that can benefit your productivity. So you go, this is a constant problem, this thing I'm dealing with here. Write that down, and then when you get a minute, you can go back through your notebook and you can find those things. Journaling or keeping a record of your tasks, accomplishments, and thoughts and ideas improves your career and work life. I put an extra "and" in there. I'm sorry. Write it down in your journal. Bill puts extra "ands" in. Okay. Sorry. First, we'll discuss how journaling can improve your personal growth, and then we talk about how journaling can increase your productivity while you're on the job. And I actually had an incident a while back where journaling helped me out a lot because I was kind of down in the dumps like I was, over the last month or two. And I wrote down, everything I ate, everything I did, every person I interacted with, how much I slept, all the stuff that was going on because it was mainly around work. Mm-hmm. And I figured out there's some things that I was doing at work that I didn't realize energized me to the degree that they did. And then there were some interactions I was having at work that I didn't realize, if I interact with this person a couple times a day, I'm in a bad mood. And I didn't realize at that point how much it was bugging me until I went back and I looked over my notes. And so this can really help you out a lot.
Yeah.
It can also help just in terms of keeping track of what you're doing. If you're like me, your boss gets on your case because you don't file your timesheet in a timely fashion, knowing what you did that day can kind of help. Now I have a timer that I use, to track my work time, but actually having everything written down, I did this on this day, can be very, very helpful.
Mm-hmm. So I just looked it up on my phone while you were talking. The episode coming out next week is really cool. We got a developer from Google,
yes,
to join us and talk about progressive web apps and some really cool new things that Google is doing that we've been able to participate in because Nashville is one of their pilot cities. So check that out. It's going to be coming out next week and about progressive web apps and Google Bulletin. So
yeah, and next week there's only going to be 2 episodes being discussed. It's just
we're learning. We're learning. Yeah. So check that out, guys.
We are what we are, where we are.
We're going to hop off here and record another one, and we will catch y'all next time.